Thank you for being here today. I am Glenda Martins, and I'm the Director for the Department of Corrections. On behalf of Sedgwick County and the Department of Corrections, we want to extend our deepest condolences to the family of Sedgwick Lofton. This was a tragic event, and we have lost a young person in our community. Right now, we understand the District Attorney, Mark Bennett, has put forth a decision based on all the evidence, videos, statements, and information from the Kansas Bureau of Investigation and the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office. We respect the District Attorney's review and legal determination. It is our hope the public will respect the legal process as well. Sedgwick Lofton's death was very tragic for his family, the community, and for all of those working in our youth correctional facility. It is important as a local public safety entity in our local government that we are accountable, transparent, for our community. Therefore, we will be forming a community task force that will facilitate a structured community review of the incident and death. The task force will review the system standards, strengths, weaknesses, and will make recommendations for improvement. We will immediately be reaching out to our community organizations within Sedgwick County to help us lead through this task force. We will invite representatives from the Wichita branch of NCAACP, the Great Wichita Ministerial League, Kansas Appleseed, St. Francis Ministries, Destination Innovation, Catholic Charities, the Kansas Advisory Group on Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, Team Justice, our Juvenile Advisory Board, Juvenile Defense Council, ComCare, Mental Health Association, Department of Children and Families, Law Enforcement, the Department of Corrections, USD 259, the Wichita Children's Home, and other strategic community partners. The goal for the task force will be to identify any issues or concerns and to develop recommendations for system improvements and changes to standard practices. This will include a review of all our policies and procedures in JIAC, our system standards from KDOC, the Kansas Department of Corrections, and our physical layout of our facility. The work of this task force will be painstakingly difficult. However, we will want a thorough review of the circumstances and details of the Sedgwick Lofton case. And I'm open for some questions.
Glenda, why isn't there any audio that goes along with the video inside JIAC?
Our JIAC is an older system, and we've never had audio. But we will be looking at that and making recommendations for the future.
Has JIAC requested the system be updated?
Yes, we have.
How many occasions?
Pardon?
On how many occasions?
I'm only aware of one. We've updated the video system multiple times because our system is now, I think we're at 12 years. So we have upgraded it, but we have not added audio yet. That will be something we will be looking at.
We still hadn't seen the video from inside JIAC, but we had heard from Sedgwick Lofton's attorney that some of the video was grainy, sometimes hard to see. Is that accurate?
I would say I thought the video, when I reviewed it, looked very good. I didn't see it great and grainy, but I think it's just a perspective.
How about the audio? Because we heard from District Attorney Mark Bennett that because there's no audio, that could be problematic because we're only hearing one side, but there's no indisputable evidence into what was said inside JIAC. Do you see that as a problem?
I think the audio, it would be very important to have. It's just that when we set up when they built the building in the first place, audio was not one of the choices they used. So it will be something we will be looking at in our future.
Do you know how much that would cost?
No. I think our technology changes every day, and the cost that goes with that as well.
We also heard from Bennett that everything done was in there was done by policy. They were well within policy to restrain Lofton as long as they did longer with supervisors clearing, and there were 2 supervisors there. We did get a question about the position in which he's held. Is that within policy? Is that covered in policy at all, being prone on the floor, face down?
Yes, it is. We've reviewed the policy, and we felt that employees acted well within the policy and the requirements of that policy. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't review it and look for better recommendations. And that's something we're going to look to this task force to help us do with different eyes, with a diversity lens, and see if there aren't some things that we can do differently.
What would you say is covered in that policy, the specific position? Oh, gotta freak me out. The specific position that he's in, face down, that is mentioned in that policy and is allowable?
Honestly, I can't remember that.
My next question's the worst question. Can you say your name again and your position? I'm sorry.
Sure. It's Glenda Martins, and I'm the director.
Glenda, is JIAC prepared for the potential for a civil lawsuit, knowing that there's no audio? Some of the video, from what we've heard from Lofton's lawyer, is questionable. As they said, it's grainy, it's hard to find, but you're saying it isn't. Is the county prepared for the potential of a civil lawsuit?
I'll let Rusty Leeds, Assistant County Manager, talk about that.
Good afternoon. For the record, I'm Rusty Leeds, Assistant County Manager. To your question regarding civil liability, realistically, we understand that family has legal counsel. We've been cooperating with legal counsel for the family. They viewed the video. Honestly, we would anticipate some type of filing in relation to this case. We're more focused on ensuring that we do a thorough review of the policies, of the practices related to JIAC, and that we have community involvement in that process so that while this was a first and only event, we want it to remain an only event. So we're focused on doing the right thing to ensure this doesn't happen again, and we will deal with any civil actions taken as they arise. But the first priority is to make sure that we are doing it right, that we get it right, and that something like this doesn't happen again.
Because no criminal charges are planning on being filed at this time, does the county plan on releasing the video so the public can see for themselves what happened inside JIAC?
Yes, sir. We anticipate releasing the video.
Do you know when that is?
As Mr. Bennett mentioned in his statement to you, there is at least one other juvenile in a small portion of this video. So based on the fact that Mr. Bennett, District Attorney Bennett, charged none of the employees today, he's released the video from the standard of a criminal investigation file. So now we are in the process of working to make the redaction, meaning a juvenile who cannot be displayed or identified based on law, we will blur that face. We don't anticipate deleting any video or anything like that. We're in the process of making the necessary edits or redactions to that face, and once the video is available and we receive core requests, then our legal department will process those as normal. So in the very near future.
Do you recall a time any time, because we just heard that there had been no audio ever in some of the surveillance video, has there been any kind of civil liability due to the fact that there is no audio to that video? Has that ever come up?
To the best of my knowledge, it has not. To the best of my knowledge, there has never been a request for, or there's never been a formal request for or release of any video from the JDF or JIAC facility, to my understanding. And therefore, to the best of my knowledge, I know that there's been prior lawsuits. Now, Steve may be able to speak to whether that involved the audio down there, but to be clear, this is facility video. This is not body-worn camera. And most facility video does not have audio. There is audio options, which Glenda has talked about, which we will be looking at for future implementation, very likely. But that's just a reality of most facility video, that it doesn't have audio attached.
What, if any, authority is this community group that's being proposed going to have, or is it just advisory?
This is a task force. The intent is for a diverse group of people, as listed here, to provide best recommendations based on the information that is presented, which will include Mr. Bennett's assessment. The intent would be to deliver that back to our commissioners, possibly the city council, and it would be our intent to implement any practical recommendations and strategies that would improve the way that we manage kids and or adults, for that matter, in our facilities. Do you have anything, Steve?
Thank you.
My name is Steve Stonehouse. I'm the Deputy Director of Juvenile Services at the Department of Corrections. The position the young man was placed in, the prone position, is not specifically mentioned in our policy, but it is a position that is trained, that staff are allowed to place a young person into. It's typically a transitional restraint to either get them up and move them, or handcuff them for transportation or moving or things like that. The district attorney addressed several times that he simply did not calm down during the restraint, so that's why it continued.
I just got this from the Lofton family attorney that they plan on filing, or they did file, an open records lawsuit against Jayak or the county. Are you guys aware of this or know anything about this?
Could you clarify the wording one more time?
This is literally what it says. They filed a Public Open Records Act lawsuit this afternoon on the Lofton case.
Okay, we were not aware of that. We've not seen it. I don't know if our legal department has seen that yet or not.
So reviewing JIAC policy, there's about 5 or 6 things that if before JIAC can accept an intake, they need a medical release if any number of these circumstances are in place, one of which is specifically if a stun gun is used or a wrap restraint. Obviously, there's questions about drug use here, there were, and mental fitness, both of which could have also been provisions in there. But he was transported to JIAC in a wrap. Was there any effort to get a medical release for him to be in JIAC custody for hours?
At the time of this incident, being in a wrap restraint was not a consideration for acceptance into JIAC. That was changed since then, but at the time, that policy was not in place.
So that was the revision that was made in December?
Yes.
Okay.